Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises to the Heavenly Father, Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rachahakodash. Double honors to the apostles, the bishops, and the elders at Great Millstone who rule well. Peace and salutations, as always, to the elect. And as you can see here, all right, this failed religion, all right, these so-called Christians who has been coined by the elder apostle Tahar as anti-messiahs, continue to fail, all right, and are on the path to destruction, leading many of our people with them. As you can see here, all right, this well-kept monument of failure known as the Christian church, all right, continues to be on the decline. This is why when you check out the statistics, there is a major decline, all right, of Christianity in America. Okay, and there's many videos on it. All right, there's a exodus of so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans from, all right, these failed churches. All right, and as you can see, Generation Z, they're leaving the churches. All right, religion in America is on a decline because it was never rooted in any truth. All right, and the so-called white man used Christianity, all right, to his advantage, along with this white image, all right, of the Son of the Most High, Cesar Borgia, Serapis Christus, which never had anything to do with the true, all right, Son, all right, of the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, whose name is Yahweh Shai. Yet it was an idol, all right, and it was used as a tool to forward their superiority, deceive, rape, rob, pillage, murder, and destroy, all right. And when we were in slavery, hardcore, they gave us what was known as the slave Bible. Okay, and if you don't know much about the slave Bible, I did a video on it, but as you can see, there's a decline. Pretty much when you type in a slave Bible, let's see if we can look it up. Okay, the slave Bible. We've brought this out before, all right. But pretty much, just to give you a breakdown, when you look at today's church in particular, especially the black church, but all of these churches, it's not rooted in the full truth of the Bible. It's rooted in what the slave master wanted taught, all right, for the form of control and for the form of you submitting to him as the Most High, all right, and not the true God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. It was never rooted in the truth. They weren't on the plantations teaching us that we were Israelites. They weren't on the plantations teaching us why we're in that condition. That truth came through the prophets. But check this out. If you haven't seen it, I'm gonna just play it real quick. See if we can back it up here. And we'll speed it up a little bit for the purpose of time. There you go. That's good. Slave Bible removed passages to instill obedience and to uphold slavery. All right. They would push scriptures, like servants obey your masters. All right. But that was going back, all right, to a custom in Rome where you had particular servants who would serve, all right, in the houses of particular rich men, all right, or they would work for what was known as a master in a particular trade. And as you came into the truth, you couldn't just wild out. Right now, when you go to work, all right, your supervisor is a form of a master. Your job, you can't go to your job and wild out just because you've learned the truth. So Paul, when he said servants, obey your masters, he's basically telling you, all right, you don't have the go ahead to go, all right, to your jobs and wild the hell out. But the so-called white man in slavery, he took that same scripture and made it to mean you needed to submit to him as God, as he was beating your ass, all right, graping Big Mama, graping your wife, graping the children, buck breaking the men, and doing all manner of wickedness. Okay, and this religion known as Christianity, all right, is rooted in anti-Messiah. That's why the people who practice that failed religion are far from Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai. All right, and we're in particular our people, but even when you look at all of the people who go to these churches, you know, some of them you can look in their eyes and they have a zeal, but they again, as the scriptures say, these people, all right, acknowledge me with their lips, but their minds, their hearts are far from me. And that's all you get, man. And when you deal with these Christians, they're dumbed down, their diets are horrible. Okay, they have no knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. Now, we're living in a time where the Lord is putting a spirit on particular people to see things, all right? But let's not forget that this is one of the worst atrocities, all right, that the world has ever seen. And this is one of the worst things that our people have ever got involved in when it comes to this Christianity, where he was able to take the Bible and do this, okay? And this is what all of the churches are rooted in. They're not teaching the full truth. Okay.
What they've left in. Inside Washington's Museum of the Bible, a single volume that is like no other. The so-called Slave Bible. Remarkable not for what's in it, but for what's not. So about 90% of the Old Testament's been removed, and about 50% of the New Testament's been removed. To put it another way, a normal King James Version has 1,189 chapters in it. The Slave Bible has only 232. Missing are chapters and verses that might have encouraged uprisings. Book of Exodus, redacted. No story of Moses demanding Pharaoh, let my people go. Gone is Galatians, and the verse, there is neither bond nor free, for ye are all one in Christ Jesus. And no Jeremiah, woe unto him that useth his neighbor's service without wages. What they've left in are verses such as Ephesians 6:5, which is the famous verse, slaves be obedient to your master. Looking at this Bible, it's hard to tell that anything...
And again, they misconstrue that. Okay, you even have these dudes from the conscious community. They'll be like, why would the Bible say that? That can't be our book, but they don't understand, all right, the context of what Paul was talking about, man. Anyway.
Things been taken out of it. That's correct. I mean, it looks like a normal book. For many enslaved Africans, this would have been the first time they were exposed to the Bible. A Bible selectively edited to instill obedience, using religion to underpin the horror of slavery. When people encounter this exhibit, what lasting impression do you want them to leave with?
Well, we want to pass the message on that may this never happen again. The Bible itself is a whole book. It's not one that you get to carve up and use this piece or that piece.
The Slave Bible designed to repress rebellion, but it didn't work. Enslaved people in the Caribbean constantly fought against slavery until emancipation.
I think it's very relevant to understand our history. Not just American history, but our African-American history, our roots and how we got to this point.
A dark chapter in the history of the good book. Jeff Bennett, NBC News, Washington.
Hey, NBC News.
And when you deal with it too, you know, what was being taught on the plantations, all right, was, you know, Jake would have these church gatherings and, you know, there was always a slave there watching, all right, for the slave master to make sure that the doctrine was in line with what the slave master wanted. And that's what these churches are doing today. They're you know, the majority of them are under a 501c3. All right, but overall, these leaders and preachers have been bought and paid for. And the higher level ones, all right, they're all a part of the Masonic order set up to deceive you. This is why you have T.D. Jakes rubbing elbows, all right, with Diddy, amongst all of the other madness that's going on amongst, all right, these nasty Christians, man, so-called Christians, which they're anti-Messiah. All right, as we'll show you later, all right, you have all of these pastors, all right, over the years, not just this year, all right, that are rooted in evil, man. But somehow, some way, the Hebrew Israelites need to be interviewed, need to be ridiculed, need to be scrutinized. But here it is. This is what you have pastors doing in the churches. This is something that's been going on, all right, for years. Mainly the Edomite pastors, but you got Jake pastors that's freaked out, all right, messing with little children, man. All right, but we'll tap into that. What I really wanted to get into was this situation here, where you have this pastor, or this false pastor, this false teacher, Jamal Bryant, okay, who's completely juiced in, okay, which this is what all of your preachers do. They allow these politicians to come into the church to push their narrative every time it's voting time. Then you'll never hear from these people again. Okay, I remember when I used to go to a church called Friendship West here in Dallas, and when it was election time, they would allow these Edomites to come and campaign, and that never set right with me, man. But now I understand that these pastors are a part of the system to keep our people dumbed down, okay, and following after and wandering after the beast, as the scriptures say. Let's get that. And they wandered after the beast. All right. And that's what you're doing, okay, when you're voting. All right. Or when you are tied up into this system, or when you support the alphabet, or when you support, the baby deletions. Because that's what all of these politicians are rooted in. They're not pushing any biblical principles, man. Anyway, this is the book of Revelation 13 and 8. I start at 7. It says, and it was given unto him to make war with the saints. This is what Edom was given power to do, colonizing, all right, just rape, robbing, and murdering, all right. Some of them were doing it in the name of Jesus. Some of them were doing it in the name of their pseudoscience, which is all the same thing, okay, using pseudoscience and, IQ test to sterilize people, to exterminate people, calling people 3/5 of a human being, all right, calling, nations pagan, and they have to exterminate them using biblical scriptures. You devils have used the Bible to kill, steal, and destroy. And now the elites of this world are done with the Bible, but they still need Jake's mind. This is why you see Barack Obama talking to so-called black men. This is why you see everybody's worried about, well, who the black people are going to vote for. And this is why they always send these agents to your churches, okay, to get you to rebel against the Lord. And why would any pastor have any of these people in their churches anyway? But anyway, this is Revelation 13 and 7. It says, and it was given unto him to make war with the saints and to overcome them. Power was given unto him to do this. And power was given unto him over all kindreds and tongues and nations. So he's devoured and conquered. He's at the top. And no nation, nobody on the earth, period, can say that the Lord ain't fair. He gives you your time, he gives you your moment. Okay, and then your moment's up. Well, this is where Esau is. It says, and all that dwell upon the earth, because he's beat everybody down, conquered, pillaged, and he's at the top, and all that dwell upon the earth shall worship him, whose names are not written in the book of life of the Lamb slain from the foundation of the earth. See, but he's going to pay for that. Okay, so all that dwell upon the earth are worshiping Esau, Edom in some shape, form, or fashion, whether it's by politics, whether it's by his wine, his philosophies, okay, his rebellion. They're into his way in some shape, form, or fashion, man. All right, those who are not written in the book of life, okay, which the elect are written in the book of life. So the elect are the ones who the Lord have foreordained to separate from this world, okay, and to shun these wicked practices. See? And Yahweh's blood, all right, from the foundation of the earth was set to cover these men, all right, and those who hear them. If any man have an ear to hear, let him hear. He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity, and he that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. Here is the patient and the faith of the saints. This is what we're patiently waiting on, okay, because these devils are going to pay now. getting into this article, all right, Pastor Jamal Bryant compares Kamala Harris to Esther from the Bible. Now, Esther's was her slave name, just like we have slave names. All right, her Hebrew name was Hadassah. As a matter of fact, which means myrtle, like a myrtle tree. Let's see if I can find it. Yep. Esther 2:7. Okay. As we were in captivity, all right, in the Persian Empire, it says, and he brought up Hadassah, that is Esther, his uncle's daughter. Okay, so Mordecai and Esther were related. Okay, that is Esther, his uncle's daughter, for she had neither father nor mother, and he was watching over her, Mordecai. But when you read it here, her Hebrew name was Hadassah, which Hadassah means myrtle. All right, Queen Esther's, all right, real name as a Jew. Her true Hebrew name was Hadassah, and she was labeled a queen, all right, under the Persian, all right, king. Okay, she wasn't. We don't have queens. We have princesses. The heathen have queen, but she became a queen under that empire, and this is a beautiful story. Okay, and when you read it, as we're going to show you, the beauty of it is that Mordecai didn't bow to Haman, who was an Edomite. But let's read a little bit of this and get a few videos. Pastor compares Kamala to Esther. Oh, man. It says, and somebody pointed out when you spell her name backwards, it's similar to Amalek. Now, there's a lot of information coming out. Candace Owens is on fire. And the priest Shaman from the main camp in New York, he's been sending me a lot of videos on it. That basically what is coming out is that, all of these people who are in these positions, they're not there by coincidence. And a lot of them are all related. They all tied in to certain families. You don't see these people just popping up out of nowhere for no reason. You're not going to get in these offices unless you're controlled, okay, unless you belong to a particular lineage. So what's coming out is that she's really an Amalekite, all right, and there's a lot coming out about that, but, that's neither here nor there. She's a demon, okay. Some say she may be a Jake. Her spirit just irks me. I believe she's a heathen, all right, and planted, to cause confusion for this very moment. But either way it goes, she's anti-Messiah. She's a part of the anti-Messiah system. So Pastor compares Kamala to Esther from the Bible. Then the sermon gets even crazier. This is an idea that cannot be stopped. If Kamala is Esther, who's Mordecai? You're going to find out. He said Mordecai is Joe Biden, which where the hell is Joe Biden at? I believe he probably went back to the spirit world, man. There's a lot of creepy stuff going on. New Birth Missionary Baptist Church, which that's these Baptist churches, that's the church I grew up in, the Baptist Church. A well-kept monument of failure. It looks good on the outside. All right, but I didn't learn anything about the Lord. This is why you Christians trying to get us to come back to your that filth, that vomit called Christianity. Okay, you're wasting your time. And those of our people who find out that they're Israelites and then turn back to that vomit, as the scriptures say, the dog has turned back to his own vomit. Let's get that. This is the book. This is Proverbs 26:11. As a dog returneth to his vomit, so a fool returneth to his folly. So anyone who finds out that they're an Israelite, and maybe you may get into camp that's off, all right, but then you allow that to, take away your crown and you go back to that church garbage, hey, you return to vomit, man. Filth. Because that's what it is. Okay? New Missionary Baptist Church senior Jamal Bryant compared Vice President Kamala Harris to Queen Esther after Harris spoke at a church on Sunday. Esther, all right, who was a Jew, all right, she was of the Southern Kingdom, all right, who became Queen of Persia, okay, courageously rescued her kinsmen, all right, the Jews, from the destruction in the Persian Empire, because you had an Edomite by the name of Haman, right, who basically was trying to set the Jews up to be destroyed, because ultimately he understood the history, all right, between the Jews and his people, the Amalekites or the Edomites. It's a history that really, it goes back to the womb, all right, of Rebecca. But you know, there was a point where our forefather Samuel hewed an Edomite named Hagag to pieces. Okay, and our King David, he had various run-ins with the Edomites, had them in captivity. So this has been a lifelong, struggle between us two. So here it is in the Persian Empire. Haman, all right, an Edomite, gets to a high position, and he has his eyes set on destroying the Jews because he's the devil. And this is why we liken vocab Malone to Haman. When you read that story, you'll see Haman had it out, like he, and that's the spirit vocab's in. All right. It says the story is retold in a book of the Bible bearing her Persian name, Esther. Again, that's not a Hebrew name, and Esther goes back to Ashtoreth, which is a goddess on the left-hand side. All right. It says, if God has anointed us to flip the state once, we can do it again. Because if God be for us, who can be against us? This is an idea that cannot be stopped. Harris, according to Bryant, is exactly like the Jewish heroine. All right. And when we say Jewish, we know, all right, that Judah, Benjamin, and Levi were in the Persian captivity. After the Babylonian captivity, went into the Medo-Persian captivity, where we were allowed to rebuild the temple. Okay, but we had troubles in those captivities as well. Now, it says, during his speech, Bryant preached from Esther 4:14. Now, do you think he's using the Bible to teach his congregation, which is predominantly so-called black people, okay, that they're the true Israelites of the Bible? No. But he's going into this story to tie Kamala Harris, a Satanist, a clear Satanist, okay, to Esther, Hadassah. All right, it says, for if you remain silent at this time, relief and deliverance for the Jews will arise from another place. But you and your father's family will perish, and who knows but that you have come to your royal position for such a time as this. But in retelling, all right, in his retelling of the Esther story, Brian not only equated Harris with Esther, but he appeared to equate President Joe Biden with Mordecai. This dude is completely Satan, man. Okay? Again, these are the ones who give you those fair speeches. Let's get the book of Romans. Okay, Romans, the 16th chapter and the 18th verse. It says, for they, all right, are such. For they that are such serve not our Lord Yahweh Shah Hamashiach, but their own belly. And he's getting paid to do this. By good words and fair speeches, deceiving the hearts of the simple. Okay, going back to the article. All right, it says, Brian not only equated Harris with Esther, but he appeared to equate President Joe Biden with Mordecai, the legal guardian of Esther, who refused to bow down to Haman, a high-ranking Persian official. Now, he wasn't of the Persian bloodline, all right, who were Elamites. He was an Edomite, but in that captivity, all right, as the Edomites tend to do, all right, they get high up in position. They're always wiggling around, all right, and Haman, who was an Edomite, okay, wiggled himself up because he was ultimately, when you go into it, he was trying to overthrow, just as Esau always does. He was trying to overthrow the Persian rulership, but he got found out. He got caught. It all worked against him as he was trying to set the Jews up to be exterminated. His ass got exterminated and hung along with the rest of him and his family, man. And there was a persecution against the Edomites. Everything he planned to have happen to our people happened to him. And this is what's getting ready to happen to you Edomites in this time. It says, setting off Haman's plot to exterminate the Jews. All right. It says, and that genocidal plan, Bryant equated it with the opposition to the leftist progressive agenda. Okay. So opposition to the leftists who are about alphabet behavior, who are pro-abortion, all right, who are pro-trans for, all right, who putting tampons in man bathrooms so that they don't upset the trans men who turn themselves into women at these high schools. That's why they call Tim Walz, who was Kamala Harris's running mate, Tampon Tim. So opposing that ideology, this dude who's a pastor, all right, a mega pastor, is comparing Haman's genocidal plan to rebelling against the alphabet boys and all of this crap that the leftists got in office, man. Okay? And the left and the right is wicked. But come on, man. All of them are wicked, but come on, man. Anyone who's supporting this leftist agenda, look who they have in. Look at your Secretary of Health. Let's type it in. Let's see if we can find this nigga here. When you look at the whole Biden Harris cabinet, they're all sodomites and freaks, man. Secretary of Health, Vice President. What was his name? Rachel Levine. Yeah. Now this is under the Biden Harris administration. This is your Vice President of Health. And that's a TRANZ. Okay? It's a doctor. Right? So opposing this type of stuff, right? Opposing this type of stuff, okay, is basically what he's comparing to what Haman was doing. It's a complete madness. Okay? Levine is you see that? Trans woman. And she has 2 children. I don't even want to, what else is there to read? This chick here, who's always in doing these press meetings, she's alphabet. Not a trans, but she deals with women. So opposing this dude is liking that. Okay, let's read it again. He called Haman's genocidal plan to off the Jews. He equated with opposition to the leftist progressive agenda, man. Okay, and their progression past traditional values. Right? In other words, whatever Bryant thinks is the opposite to the leftist agenda, he equates it with Haman's genocidal plan. So these people are crazy, man. In ancient scripture, we find an occasion where they were plotting to destroy all the minorities because they wouldn't break, Bryant said. But is he teaching them that those people are them? No. They came up with a strategy on how to that they can destroy minorities. They crafted an agenda called 0025. And Project 0025, here's what we find in scriptures, that they wanted to fire every person who did not agree with dictatorship. They wanted to end the independence of Department of Justice. They wanted to dismantle the Department of Education. And this diabolical plot to destroy our community, they wanted to rob women of the right to make decision over their own bodies. Now, does the Bible support, abortion? No. The scriptures clearly say, all right, let's get it. And the fact that it's really, when you look at it, is the women of the tribes that are going hardcore for this. Although you have all nations of women, who's at the forefront of it? Who's crying, all right, for the right to just off the baby, man, instead of preaching responsibility with sex. Okay, you have women just getting baby deletions every other month and crying that they can't. Certain states are banning it, so they're crying. Well, just move. This is the book of Exodus 23 and 26. All right, this is a law. Okay, this is in the law. When we were to conquest the land, it says, there shall nothing cast their young, nor be barren in the land. The number of thy days will I fulfill. Okay? Let's see here. NLT, it says, I never read this in the NLT. There will be no miscarriages or infertility in your land, and I will give you long, full lives. Now, when you look up this word cast, okay, in the, and pretty much they're leading you into Satanism, Baal. Okay, the casting away of the young was a big time practice. Okay, the word cast is shakal, to be bereaved, to make childless, to miscarry, to cause barrenness, to make childless, all right, to show barrenness, or, all right, there you go. All right, what does that mean? Okay, the deliberate termination of a human pregnancy. All right, most often performed during the first 28 weeks. Now they're trying to go, all right, the baby can be, months, and you can terminate it. Okay? Which, who leads the league in that practice? Okay, so-called black women. And when you look at Margaret Sanger's plan, okay, she went to the black church, okay, to push that agenda. Okay? You can look her up. Margaret. You can look her up. She's the starting of this Planned Parenthood thing. But when you go into it, she went to the black church because this was taboo in our neighborhoods, this having baby deletions. But who did she go to first get this ideology pushed amongst our people? She went to the churches because she understood the way inside of the Negro mind, all right, as she said, was by what? Going to their leaders, their spiritual leaders, religious leaders. Okay? See if it comes up. There was a video that went into it. I'm not going to look for it, but I did videos on it before, but
The entire abortion industry was created around the idea of eugenicism. Planned Parenthood is a racist organization, and they have been successful. You can't just say, oh, well, it changed going forward. She wrote down what her plans were, what her models were, why abortion needed to be taking place, so that you had people that weren't worthy of having children to be able to reproduce. You can't just magically pretend that didn't happen and say, oh, well, then I learned in school, but now it's my body, my choice. Acknowledge the true history, the true abhorrent history of what the abortion industry is, what it was intended to do, and what it has largely been successful in doing. I think Margaret Sanger is one of the most successful progressives that has ever lived, because she set out to do exactly what has been accomplished. Over 18 million black babies have been aborted.
Yeah, just like in Egypt, all right? But when you go into it, she first was able to get that ideology instilled in our culture through going to the black church, Okay? And this is, as a matter of fact, I think this is it.
I'm Michael Hitchborn, and this is the
Fair use, fair use, fair use. Let's see if I think this is it. And the word eugenics, it means, Eugene, it means royal. So basically, they're the royal superior people. So they needed to get all of the degenerate weeds out of the garden, their garden.
The American Life League report. The federal government already funnels hundreds of millions of dollars to Planned Parenthood every year, so it should come as no surprise when it funnels your money to celebrate its founder. The Smithsonian National Portrait Gallery recently opened a new federally funded exhibit that, according to the museum's curator, celebrates
Up the energies and the resources of this little earth. We must clear the way for a better world. We must cultivate our garden.
In 1920,
And they're going to cultivate the garden by getting these degenerate weeds out.
22, Sanger wrote a book entitled The Pivot of Civilization. In it is a chapter called The Cruelty of Charity, where she blasts programs that provide medical and nursing facilities to slum mothers as insidiously injurious. In the same book, Sanger called for the cessation of charity, for the segregation of morons, misfits, and the editorial was published in the 1932 issue of the Birth Control Review.
The Negro problem is one of the most complicated and important confronting America. Whatever the ultimate answer may be, such an attitude brings to light the function of birth control as a necessary agency in its solution. The present submerged condition of the Negro is due in large part to the high fertility of the race under disastrously adverse circumstances. Thus, the question arises, to what extent birth control has had a eugenic effect upon the Negro race?
If any question should remain about Sanger's racist agenda, a 1939 letter she wrote to Dr. Clarence Gamble should remove all doubt.
We should hire 3 or 4 colored ministers, preferably with social service backgrounds and with engaging personalities. The most successful educational approach to the Negro is through a religious appeal. We don't want the word to go out that we want to exterminate the Negro population. And the minister is a man who can straighten out that idea if it ever occurs to any of their more rebellious members.
So the minister, these preachers were set up to not only invoke, all right, these practices into your culture, but to tame you. And it's the same thing unto this day. All right? Now, getting back to the point, okay? And this shows you that this is Egypt all over again. Because remember in Egypt, when you get Exodus 2, I believe. All right, the midwives were told, let's see here. All right. Right, Exodus 1 and 19, or Exodus 1. This is what was told to the midwives. Exodus 1 and 16. And he said, when you do the office of a midwife to the Hebrew women and see them upon the stools, if it be a son, all right, ye shall kill him. But if it be a daughter, then she shall be alive, because he wants to exterminate that seed. But the midwives feared God and did not as the king of Egypt commanded them. And this is why there was a study. All right, babies born to through Edomite doctors, a lot of times they don't make it. All right, and a lot of times they try to force C-sections. All right, which ultimately that's, as I was talking to the brother Kanach from the Bay Area camp, he was breaking down how it's vital for a child to go through that birth process. And if it doesn't, this is why a lot of children have sicknesses, or a lot of them just go back to the spirit world right there. They don't make it past the C-section. But going through that canal, that birth, all right, gives them necessary bacteria and things that they need for their forwarding, for their health. You take that process away, it takes away a lot of what the child needs to develop. But we're still here. Through all of what this devil is trying to do, we're still here. But these people are all a part of that plan. But anyway, all right, going back to this. As a matter of fact, let's just bring up a video on it. All right. This is Pastor Jamal Bryant.
Something is wrong with brothers who don't know how to support a sister.
Yeah. Full stop.
And Mordecai was man enough to know that in order for me to be a man, I got to know how to support a woman. Something is wrong with brothers who don't know how to support a sister. It was a sister that raised you. It was a sister that taught you how to read. It was a sister that taught you how to bathe yourself.
In the context of the vice president, were you trying to send a message?
That we've got to be able to both, that misogyny is still real in our community. We've got to address it head on and not act like it doesn't exist. The reality is if black men had voted, Stacey Abrams would be a governor.
See, a lot of so-called black men are waking up to this system, even though some of them ain't waking to the truth, but they're waking up to the scam of the black church, to the scam of these Democrats and Republicans. And they're saying the hell with this system. Now so-called black men are being blamed. You even have Barack Obama cursing out the black man. All right, because they ain't hardcore supporting Kamala. And any human being with any kind of sense should look at her, but our people are under a strong delusion. They should look at her and listen to her and clearly see that she ain't got it. All right, but here it is. You have a high-level Christian preacher pushing this madness on our people, man. Where's Vocab Malone? You gonna equate her to Esther? That cackling demon? To our foremother Hadassah?
So I think that we've got to do some real redress. That after racism, the biggest ill in America is sexism. And I think it's part of the responsibility of this generation.
And a lot of these men have woke up to the rebellious mindset of the Western woman. So they saying to hell with you getting on these podcasts, okay, and going in. But the so-called black pastor is still pandering to these hoes, man.
Kamala Harris's mask is falling off. Yes, the presidential nominee has been caught out yet again, this time desperately trying to win over Christian voters by any means necessary. Kamala Harris attended a New Birth Missionary Baptist Church service in Georgia on Sunday morning.
See, the Lord is going to destroy all of these niggas, man. And if you are still in that church in 2024, man, you got some soul. You need to repent. You need to stop. Because this ain't it. They're leading you to the destruction, man. Matthew 7:15, beware of false prophets which come to you in sheep's clothing, but inwardly they are ravening wolves. Okay, 2 Corinthians 11:13, for such as false apostles, deceitful workers, transforming themselves into the apostles of light. And no marvel, for Satan himself is transformed to the angel of light. So Satan has the ability to transform himself to as if he's there to help you, soft-spoken, loving. It's about love and unity. But the whole time he's trying to undermine you, and he's leading you. And again, as it says here, therefore it is no great thing that his ministers also be transformed as the ministers of righteousness, whose end shall be according to their works. See if we can get a precept to that. Let's read this in the NLT as well. Nothing too deep. I saw that. I wanted to bring it out. So it is no wonder that his servants also disguise themselves as servants of righteousness. In the end, they will get the punishment their wicked deeds deserve, man. Woo. So all of you are going to pay, including Kamala. Okay? Yep. Jeremiah 5:31, the prophets prophesy falsely and the priests bear rules by their means, and my people love to have it so. And what will you do in the end thereof? Because there's a price to pay for this. Jeremiah 23:14, I have seen also in the prophets of Jerusalem an horrible thing. They commit adultery and walk in lies, and strengthen also the hands of evildoers. None of them doth turn from his wickedness. They are all of them unto me as Sodom, and the inhabitants thereof as Gomorrah. And these so-called Christian, these anti-Messiah pastors, right? The mass majority of them are sodomites. Okay? Therefore, thus said the Lord concerning the prophets, behold, I will feed them with wormwood, and will make them drink the water of gall. All right, for from the prophets of Jerusalem is profaneness going forth all into the land. And this is an example of that. Okay? Profaneness goes forth through these people, man.
Kamala Harris delivered a cringeworthy sermon at the service.
Person passed by, sees the man lying in his path, and walks around him, not wanting to be bothered.
And what do Kamala be talking about? She just be pulling stuff out her ass. She just and not answering questions. Word salads. What the hell does this nigga be talking about? This is how you know our people under a strong delusion to really listen to her and see hope. See if she got some bloopers.
I grew up understanding the children of the community are the children of the community. In one term, he has already, yes, you may clap.
You need to get to go. I need to be able to get where you need to go to do the work and get home.
We did it, Joe. You're gonna be the next president of the United States. I don't know what's wrong with you young people.
And you give this woman, this nigga right here, a shot of brown liquor, she'll do anything. They see, they talk about the Diddy party. All of these people are part of that type of lifestyle. It gets even worse when you get higher up.
You think you just fell out of a coconut tree? You exist in the context. I'm a gun owner. Tim Walz is a gun. I did not know that. If somebody breaks in my house, they're getting shot.
Yes, I hear that.
Probably should not have said that. But my staff will deal with that later. Who doesn't love a yellow school bus, right? Can you raise your hand if you love a yellow school bus, right? Just, there's something about and most of us, many of us went to school on the yellow school bus, right? Yellow bus go round and round. I do believe that we should have rightly believed, but we certainly believe that certain issues are just settled. Certain issues are just settled.
Clearly we're not.
No, that's right. And that's why I do believe that we are living, sadly, in real unsettled times. It is the Caribbean nations, island nations. In the Western Hemisphere, that is where the Caribbean is. We are also in the Western Hemisphere. They are our neighbors. And talking about the significance of the passage of time, right? The significance of the passage of time. So when you think about it, there is great significance to the passage of time in terms of what we need to do to lay these wires, what we need to do to create these jobs. I think it's very important, as you have heard from so many incredible leaders, for us at every moment in time, and certainly this one, to see the moment in time in which we exist and are present. First and foremost, I believe that we must take this stuff seriously, as seriously as you are, because you have been forced to have to take it seriously. So you're now no longer are you necessarily keeping those private files in some file cabinet that's locked in the basement of the house. It's on your laptop, and it's then therefore up here in this cloud that exists above us, right? Before I begin, I do want to say a few. When we invest in clean energy and electric vehicles and reduce population, more of our children can breathe clean air and drink clean water. As a United States Senator, I was proud to co-sponsor, and then as Vice President, it was my honor, with the President.
Yeah, you can finish watching that. You know, this is one airhead right here. And you have people looking at this as a leader. You got Obama cursing you so-called black man out, right? Because you ain't with it.
From campaigns and communities is that we have not yet seen the same kinds of energy and turnout in all quarters of our neighborhoods and communities as we saw when I was running. Now, I also want to say that seems to be more pronounced with the brothers.
The brothers? This nigga wasn't talking about no brothers when he was in office. He uplifted and liberated nasties. Okay? He might be happy with that. Look at this guy.
So if you don't mind, just for a second, I'm going to speak to y'all directly. And say that when you have a choice that is this clear, when on the one hand you have somebody who grew up like you, knows you.
She didn't grow up like us, man.
Went to college with you. Understands the struggles and pain and joy that comes from those experiences. Who's had to work harder and do more and overcome and achieves the second highest office in the land and is putting forward concrete proposals to directly address the things that are vital in our neighborhoods and our communities, from housing to making sure that our mothers and our fathers and our grandparents can afford medicine, and making sure that maintain the Affordable Care Act, so our neighborhoods. And that's on one side. And on the other side, you have someone who has consistently shown disregard, not just for the communities, but for you as a person. And you're thinking about sitting out? But, you know, because Putin might be. And you're coming up with all kinds of reasons and excuses. I've got a problem with that. Because part of it makes me think, and I'm speaking to men directly now, part of it makes me think that, well, you just aren't feeling the idea of having a woman as president.
You ain't feeling the idea of having a woman as president. Hey, and the scriptures say, as for my women rule over them. As for my people, Isaiah 3:12, as for my people, children are their oppressors. All right, that's twofold. That can be speaking of Esau, Edom as well. But who's in the neighborhoods oppressing their own kind? These young, wild, savage niggas, man. All of the tribes, the youngsters, man, they're out of control. Robbing the elderly. Children are their oppressors, and women rule over them. O my people, they which lead thee cause thee to err and destroy the way of thy paths, man. And Obama was a big part of destroying the way of your path. You Christians had them Obama hats, and this dude is a complete anti-Messiah. Okay? He went completely against the scriptures. Look at this nigga.
I gotta say, you know, I have done a lot of rallies So I don't usually get nervous. But I was feeling some kind of way following Eminem. I notice my palms are sweaty, knees weak, arms are heavy, vomit on my sweater already, mom's spaghetti. I'm nervous, but on the surface I look calm and ready to drop bombs, but I keep on forgetting.
And y'all falling for this, man. Anyway.
Despite desperately trying to pander to the worshippers, Harris was blasted for the transparent performance, with this commentator saying, Kamala Harris messed up so bad she went to go pander at the church in what can only be described as the most cringeworthy and fake moment I have ever seen.
Yo, this is at the end, man. This gotta be the end. This is a complete circus. You got Obama freestyling Eminem. Kamala talk about she cooks greens, and talk about she used to sing in the church, doing all she can to appear like she's down with you Israelites, man. Okay? Again, no side is for you, but this is complete madness. And why is the so-called black church allowing these particular people to come in and do this madness? Because again, they're linked in with Satan, man. They're forwarding Satan. They're trying to destroy the way of your paths. And they need the Israelite mind. It's not working no more, though. Again, Esau's losing his grip. So he's getting more and more tacky. Again, when it says stand now with thine enchantments, this is a part of it. They're getting more and more tacky as they get to the end of their kingdom, man. You can clearly see that this is the end of an empire. Now, as Apostle Tahar was going into, empires usually last, okay? Let's see here. Give me 1 second. How long do empires usually last? The average empires last around 250 years, but the length of the time of an empire can vary. Okay, then it goes into, but how long has America been a country? All right. Around pretty much 248 years. So we're just about at the point where time is up, and these things bear witness to the time being up.
This is fake on steroids. The church service appearance has been blasted by commentators as fake, as it comes just days after Kamala Harris was accused of mocking Christians at her rally who shouted, "Jesus is Lord," from the crowd.
So, well, while we're talking about the war on Christianity, have a look at this exchange over the weekend. While Kamala Harris was promoting abortion without limits, the entire crowd erupted into loud cheers, but then a lone student in the crowd, who is a Christian and so pro-life, called out, "Jesus is Lord." Now, instinctively and without pause, Kamala mocked him, telling him he was at the wrong rally. Take a look at what happened.
Oh, you guys are at the wrong rally.
Now that could be propaganda. When I heard it, I didn't see hear that person say Jesus is Lord, but I did hear it later on as I was watching it. I don't know what that person exactly yelled out, but again, either way it goes, just to be fair.
You meant to go to the smaller one down the street.
Just wow. Damien, what do you make of that?
Well, I think it's interesting, isn't it, that, someone cries Jesus is Lord at a Democrats rally and they're immediately told by the party's presidential candidate that they're at the wrong rally.
Host Joe Hildebrand blasted Kamala for the comment, saying it was terribly damaging and a stupid thing to say.
What she should have said, but the mistake that Kamala made was to say, there's actually, for someone who says Jesus is Lord, or someone who even is pro-life or whatever, there's no place for you in the Democratic Party. That is insane. By saying you are not welcome at this rally and literally physically removing them, she's saying there is no place for you in the...
Don't belong in my rally. If you want to say, geez...
And to add insult to injury, Christian anti-abortion activists were also forcibly removed from the Baptist church service by police during Kamala Harris's appearance.
So yeah, these people are complete anti-Messiah. As a matter of fact, let's get the book of Romans, the first chapter. All right, and what is, because they say, well, that's the Old Testament when you talk about against the alphabet stuff and against the things we are against. Right? Romans 1:21. And for this cause, God gave them up. And this is speaking of the Israelites in the Roman captivity. They served those idols. They followed those pernicious, wicked, destructive practices and ways. Sacrificing their children and doing all of this stuff. And for this cause, God gave them up to vile affections, for even their women did change the natural use into that which is against nature. Studs, right? We got a stud, 5'5", walking around with her arms out, with cornrows and tattoos. All right, with Timberlands on, lips black, putting on strap-ons. All right, taking her woman to Pound Town, beating, and they're worse than the men. It's like you women, you say, I don't want to deal with women anymore. I'm gonna go get a stud. And the stud be beating your ass, cheating, worse than the men do. And she walking around with a strap on that never goes soft. Yo, we got to get out of here, man. All right, this bitch a truck driver. And likewise, also the men, leaving the natural use of the woman, burned in their lusts, one towards another, men with men, working that which is unseemly, and receiving in themselves the recompense of their error, which was meat. These diseases, higher health insurance policies, because of that wicked lifestyle, man. It comes with it comes with a lot of health issues, man. Even as they did not like to retain God in their knowledge, God gave them up to a reprobate mind to do the things which are not convenient. And this is what you have in those churches, man. People of a reprobate mind, a mind void of judgment, being filled with all unrighteousness, fornication, wickedness, covetousness, maliciousness, full of envy, murder, debate, deceit, malignity, whispers. And this is what goes on in those churches. Yet when we tell our people to repent from these lifestyles, the Hebrew Israelites are being singled out as the next KKK, who have we burned and hung? Okay? You like to single out these little weirdos who call themselves Israelites, all right, who may have did some stupid, things. But look at the vast history of hangings, lynchings, burnings of amongst you Edomites who called yourself Christians, man, using your racial superiority. Backbiters, haters of God, despiteful, proud, boasters, inventors of evil things. All right, look at Kirk Franklin. This shit. The black church is completely out of control. All of you churches are completely out of control. Okay? Without understanding, covenant breakers, without natural affection, and Christians are proud as hell, man. Especially after they listen to that gospel, they just go help destroy the world. The women, when the Christian women, the men are just simple and folly filled, too goddamn happy, smiling too much, giddy, too much cologne on. They don't know what the hell is going, tripping over their own feet with mask on, right? The women are just mean, proud, disrespectful, bold, masculine, unmerciful, especially them Christian women as supervisors at these jobs. Oh my goodness, forget about it. Okay? They worse than the goddamn slave master. Implacable, who knowing the judgment of God that they which commit such things are worthy of death. Not only those who do the same, but those who have pleasure in them that do them. So the Christian church, you can say, well, I don't practice it, but you support it. These churches support these lifestyles. Very rarely are you hearing pastors use the Bible to condemn the evils of this world, man. You have a few, the Bible Belt, stuff like that. All right, you have a few. I'm not going to act like all so-called no, you don't have no Christians but it's not really a big cry. Because, again, you got to understand, how many Christians are there in the world? And this is just a roundabout. How many Christians are in the world? As of 2003, there are approximately 2.4 billion Christians in the world, making Christianity the world's largest religion. So you with all those numbers, you couldn't make any positive change in the world? This is madness. You've been used to help forward left-handed satanic practices, man. Let's get this. I didn't got all off the topic, but hey, it is what it is. NLT, it says, they know God justice requires that those who do these things deserve to die, yet they do them anyway. Worse yet, they encourage others to do them too. Here it is, amongst all these so-called black people. This looks like, I don't know if this is Northern Kingdom.
Vice presidential.
There's only one person really protesting against Kamala, man. You niggas are sick in the head, man. Okay? Complete failures, man. Complete failures, man. Throughout his speech, Bryant did not return to the Bible. He did, however, quote John Maxwell, Victor Hugo, and William Shakespeare. At the end of his speech, Bryant urged his congregation to lift up their hands to God as he prayed for Harris, requesting that God assign 100,000 angels to protect her. Later, he instructed his congregation that immediately upon leaving the church, they go vote. Wow, this is madness. This is madness. Okay? Woe to those who call evil good and good evil. That's Isaiah 5:5, I believe. Come on, man. Absolute madness, man. And under the Biden-Harris administration, all right, this increased, okay? Because this is what they're all about. All of them are all about it, okay? There's a nigga, man. Yeah, but check this out. You got pastors left and right getting caught with child PORN on their computers, man. Okay? How many Catholic priests have been caught out there like that? Yet the Israelites are the problem. We're the GMS are the grapist. Arrested. What are you doing? SCX abuse images. Pastor. Texas pastor fired over like everywhere you look. All these Edomite pastors are getting caught with these child POR, on their phones. I mean, and there's way more, right? But this is Christianity, man. Alphabet-friendly church in Texas pledges allegiance to drag queens. Church teaches while white pupils they benefit from systematic oppression of people of color. Woke NYC Catholic Church sparks fury for God is Trans art exhibition. It's madness. Look, this place got to be destroyed, man. Church of England to consider a gender-neutral God. Church of England declares Jesus is non-binary. Pride flag on church altar sparks court battle. So this place is completely ready to be destroyed, man. Okay. Church of England creates fund to address past wrongs of slavery. It's too late. We want what we read in Revelation 13, man. What the hell is this? They're pledging allegiance to drag queens. Let's see.
Stand for justice, you proclaim love, and you defend the rights of all people.
This is the church.
Recognize that all people are made in the loving image of God, no matter who they are, how they dress and express themselves, or who they love. We celebrate this divine diversity and commit to lifting up the voices of the LGBTQ+ community and creating spaces where everyone can thrive.
Drag queens are often targets of hate and violence, but we know that they are powerful and resilient people who show us what it means to be truly authentic and expressive. We honor their strength.
This is madness, man. Yeah. This is in Texas. Anyway, historic Christian churches are burning to the ground in France at the rate of one every 2 weeks. Hey, man, judgment, getting ready to come, man. But yeah, the Arkansas pastor who fostered 76 children has been arrested on 100 counts of related to child pornography. All right. So, yeah, you Christians are out of control. Y'all ain't got nothing to say to us, man. Shalom.